You know, this is not an easy one. This took us a long time and required a lot of compromise because it is complicated about balancing two needs that are incredibly important, that somehow we are standing in the way of solar. That couldn't be farther from the truth. As a matter of fact, by doing anything today, we are allowing solar to move forward. The reality is right now where we sit with having nothing before us means that nothing is happening. But by passing something, we actually open up the opportunity for some expansion of solar into our agricultural reserve. That should be the lead line of the story. And at the same time, preserving our commitment to our agricultural reserve, which is primarily for food production.
About our agricultural reserve and have come to even better appreciate the steps that the county took 40 years ago to establish the agricultural reserve, which at the time and even today was one of the most profound climate action decisions as a body that our jurisdiction could have made. The fact that 1/3 of our land cannot be developed except for agricultural uses is significant and profound, and something that needs to continue to be recognized and celebrated for generations to come. But when weighing all of that with what was presented in the unique challenges that solar may present within our agricultural community, it was never a question for me whether or not I supported solar in the agricultural reserve. The only question was when and how.
From the very beginning, I have wanted both solar and the agricultural community to prosper in Montgomery County. Bottom line, want them both. And I sincerely believe we will have them both if the solar community will sit down, the industry will sit down with the ag community. This will be literally a win-win situation for everyone.
This issue of protecting the agricultural reserve for me has always been important. But I do believe that it is important as well to try certain things and to at least open the door to test certain things. We also navigated through this renewed reckoning with systemic racism, et cetera. If I have learned anything, is that we have got to be able to deliberate. We have got to be able to look at all points of view. We have got to be able to also understand that nothing is binary. It's not good or wrong. You know, it's not climate denier versus absolutely gung ho. It's not, you know, one day supposedly, you know, as a woman of color, as an immigrant, I am all for equity, but then the next day I'm being accused of not being for equity because for some reason I want to be more measured when it comes to making a significant policy change in an area of this county that we are known for. So to me, making these steps, opening up solar, opening that up in the agricultural reserve, to me, it's a very important step. It's not the only thing that we will do. It's not the only thing that we have done, but it adds to all of the collection of all those things that we have done in the past.
So I think the statement that, well, you know, this is, people are going to go somewhere else, we'll see. But I think the data that's presented on those two previous points and on this point on the economics make it unlikely that that's going to happen. I think we'll see projects move forward. We don't know all the answers. It's impossible to foresee in the future, but taking a measured approach and then having a check-in point in time with information from all stakeholders will allow future councils which hopefully I'm on to make a decision about how we need to move forward with data that we have.
With my top priority being protecting soils, because soils is what makes agriculture. That's how farming works. And certainly if there's a concern for where a solar array can be placed, there's an even greater concern with whether or not crops can be harvested. And so I felt very strongly about that and been consistent on that issue. That's why I have continued to pursue that. If we do too much, we will never be able to undo the impact that we make. If we do too little, if we don't do enough, and there aren't enough opportunities to do community solar, we can come back and address that. but we can't come back and address a problem where we did too much and we realized it was a mistake. That mistake is pretty much unfixable at that point.
Okay. This is, I believe, a roll call vote, correct?
Yes. Mr. Glass.
Yes.
Mr. Glass votes yes. Mr. Jawando.
Yes.
Mr. Jawando votes yes. Mr. Reamer.
No.
Mr. Reamer votes no. Mr. Katz.
Yes.
Mr. Katz votes yes. Ms. Navarro.
Yes.
Ms. Navarro votes yes. Mr. Rice.
Yes.
Mr. Rice votes yes. Mr. Friedson.
Yes.
Mr. Friedson votes yes. Mr. Albornoz.
Yes.
Mr. Albornoz votes yes. Mr. Hucker.
No.
Mr. Hucker votes no.
Okay, the ZTA passes 7-2.